So how did game week 7 treat you? Were you bang average exactly like I was after I took the -4 hit and made 2 transfers and ended up with exactly 46 points, which was the round average? Well, join me now for Fantasy Premier League, the D Units journey. Now, look, like a lot of people, this game week was not a very high scoring one at all. As I said, the average was 46 points and it is exactly what I got. I think it was actually my worst game week of the season. I'm going to very quickly check that because I feel like potentially I had a better one. Yeah, I did. So in game week 4, I had 52 points and that was also on a -4 week and I ended up with 48. So look, this was my lowest scoring game week of the season, game week 7. I always had a concern about this particular game week as well because in fact, it wasn't actually the players that I thought were going to disappoint me. They didn't disappoint me at all. They actually did well. Some of the ones that I was counting on for points this week just didn't deliver. And I suppose the best place to start, like a lot of people, was the fact that that's 2 weeks in a row I've captained Erling Haaland, and that's now a grand total of 8 points from my captain across 2 game weeks. But thankfully, a lot of people did the exact same thing. I mean, last season he dominated against Fulham at home, and Haaland at home is, generally speaking, a different beast. He had enough shots. His stats were still really good. He just didn't deliver, which is very unusual for him in particular. So in this particular game, I think he had 3 shots from memory, but his expected goals were only 0.25. So that's even worse than what it was against Newcastle the week before. So look, those people that have held off this long for not having Haaland, well done to you lot. Fantastic. Now, the first thing I want to mention here, based on the game week, is so many people sold Mo Salah and Backroy Saka for Cole Palmer. Now, Cole Palmer, comparison to last week, he was disappointing. I mean, he only scored 6 points. He had an assist, got 1 bonus, and, Chelsea didn't really do much. In fact, there was another player in that game that was in my team, ironically, that I was expecting nothing from. Again, delivering me a goal and 2 bonus points. Chris Woody Woodpecker. Who would have thought that man would deliver such good value? At 6 million, he's now got me 39 points. I'm so happy with that transfer. I've never left his points on the bench either. So I've been super damn lucky that he started so well. And look, he's actually on track for another price rise potentially over the international break. So look, he's a great option, and Nottingham Forest's fixture run over the next few weeks is absolutely insanely good. So Crystal Palace at home, Leicester away, West Ham at home. There's goals there for Chris Wood, judging from the fact that, he just keeps seeming to get the odd goal. It'd be nice if we've got a couple more, but look, you can't complain when you're buying a player at that price that, is good. So look, let's have a look at my team. So I got 50 points, but as I said, I had copped the -4, so really I only scored 46, even though on there it says I scored 50. I did cop the -4. And look, the transfers in, I'm not disappointed with. So I got rid of Mo Salah for Cole Palmer, and that actually made me 3 points because Palmer got 6, Mo Salah got 3. And then I got rid of Ahmad, who I think at the very end came off the bench and got 1 point. And I had Dwight McNeil, who got me 2. The good news is I got the price rises for those players. Otherwise, the transfer itself actually made me 0 points. So the -4 actually, it didn't make any difference. I would have got 4 points less regardless of whether I made the mood anyway. So I actually would have just scored 46 points. So I suppose when you look at it from that perspective, I'm still happy with the transfer. I'm just disappointed that, I didn't get more out of that particular risk. It didn't matter in our head-to-head league. I still beat Pete Slappy Dog quite comfortably. But unfortunately, as in this particular game itself, it was it was a disappointing week. So look, let's start at the back. Who would have thought that Arsenal concede against Leicester and then to Southampton at home? What's going on? This is meant to be a team that just keeps clean sheets, right? I don't quite understand. They've played 2 games at home against 2 probably 2 relegation contenders, promoted teams. I don't know what to say other than the fact that I've been quite disappointed with the way that the Arsenal have defended the last 2 weeks. I mean, it should be much better than what it is, but alas, it's not, which is very disappointing. So yeah, look, if you're one of those people and you're like, oh mate, what's happening to the Arsenal defence? I actually can't tell you what's happening to them, but they're conceding goals. It's very disappointing. So yeah, I originally didn't want to bring in any Arsenal players until after their 3 tough fixtures, which are coming up. So after this game week where they've got Bournemouth coming up in game week 8, after the international break, they've got Liverpool at home, Newcastle away and Chelsea away. I wanted to bring in my Arsenal players after that. And at the moment, David Raya, I'm paying a premium for, and he's not delivering on the premium like status. Like, I'd be much better off at the moment with just a 4.5 million goalkeeper because of the fact that, David Raya just hasn't been performing now. There is a player I do want to talk to a little bit about later on about what I did like seeing. But look, David Raya and the Arsenal defence, no good this week. And I was, I actually considered bringing in Saka originally last game week when I was going to make more trades. And I kind of wished that I had, because I could have used those 16 points that he got this game week. But look, defence actually, the ones I was concerned about did well. So Faze at home for Leicester kept a clean sheet. Fantastic. I mean, like, I actually had his points on the field and I was tying up whether to Robinson or him, and I'm glad I went with Faze because, yeah, there was a chance of a clean sheet and he got one. So well done, 6 points. Alexander-Arnold, clean sheet, 2 bonus points. I mean, there's not much more you can ask for that. He is the only Liverpool player left in my team and the only one likely to be in there for the foreseeable future. And so I'm hoping he continues scoring like that to justify his stay in the team. And look, all those people, I had Andy Robertson that were, going a bit cheaper. He didn't even start the game. So that's exceptionally disappointing for those particular players. We go to look at Pedro Porro. Now, Tottenham were 2-0 up. And then they did what Spurs always do. They just became Spurs and they somehow lost the game. I think it was 2-0 up in the 47th minute and it was 3-2 in like the 63rd or 64th. It was like watching Man United, except this week Man United were boring as, and Tottenham decided to do what Man United normally do, and that's throw it away. So look, then the midfield, this is where the points were made. This is where the people with the teams that did do well, they had the suckers and the other people that scored really highly, but the budget options this week just weren't very good. So Rodgers got the clean sheet and didn't do much else. I mean, I don't think he might have almost had a chance right at the end where he set up a chance for, I can't remember who it was on the right, and he just blazed it over the bar. No, it actually hit Dallo, and he had no idea about it, but that, Dallo actually saved a certain goal there. And then Dwight McNeil, yeah, disappointing. Didn't do a hell of a lot in that game, and but that was always going to happen. I mean, budget options, you hope that they fire for you, but it's no guarantee that they're going to. So you've got to always temper your expectations a little bit. Cole Palmer, he got an assist. I mean, it was a weird game. It definitely wasn't like Brighton the week before. Forest, as we know, a much better defensively minded team, and it was a lot harder for the Chelsea attack on the weekend. And then Brian Mbeumo. I'm actually shocked he only got 8 points because Brentford scored 5 goals. You would have thought that he would have been involved in more than the 1 goal that he was involved in. So, that was disappointing for him, but, he still scored. His price is about to go up to 7.5 mil as well. Like, he's a player that if you bought him before those price rises, he is on 7.5. I lie. He must have just gone up overnight. So look, that's mad. Like, he's made so much money. I bought him at 7.2, so he's already made me 0.3 in the small space of time he's been in my team. So that's all about creating and building the team value. All the content creators will tell you, team value is a must. It makes the game so much easier to play. And then up front, Watkins, again, he didn't have a shot that I can recall. And we watched a game last night, and, it was one of them games where you're just like, oh, mate, is this game over? Like, it was just, nothing happened in this game. It was mad. Erling Haaland, as I talked about before, disappointing. I mean, you really want more from your captain. It means hard. He's actually gone up to 15.4 million and he hasn't scored in the last 2 game weeks. It just says it all. So many people are scared of the scores that he potentially can dump on you that it doesn't seem to matter, and he's still getting bought in pretty good numbers. I mean, I wonder if that will change over the international break, and we might see more transfers out of Haaland, only because of the fact that, he has blanked now in 2 game weeks, and you are now tying up 15.4 million in your budget. And Kai Havertz scored again for Arsenal as well, could be a good option. And then obviously Chris Wood. fantastic. 8 points, very much needed. Look, I left no points on my bench again this week, which is good. So Turner, he looks like he's injured now. He's got a red arrow next to him. Oh no, he's can't play the next game because it's his parent club anyway, but he doesn't start anyway. Smith Rowe and Robertson, I did well with leaving them on the bench. They only got 1 point each because obviously City scored 3 goals and they picked up, well, Smith Rowe picked up a yellow, and then Harwood Bellis obviously only got a point as well. Again, conceded 3 goals to Arsenal. So, pretty good. Now, just shout out to Jono. He was the top scorer in our league this week, and he's had a pretty interesting start to the season. So he hasn't been the most prolific player in the league this year. Like, he's currently ranked 5,403,989, but this week was definitely one of his best weeks. His 71 points made him a global rank of 339,586 for the game week, and look, this is how he did it. And he was one of them people that had Saka on his team, and he also had the captain on him. So that goes a long way to boosting your rank. Getting the captain choice, especially when you're betting against the masses, like he has done in this particular game week, that's how you make up ground. That's how you make points. It's a risky business though, because I mean, if Haaland had gone big and the majority have captained him, you're going to be fighting that. So like I had that problem last season where, there was a couple of times where I was like, I know, I really like this player's fixture better. And then Haaland just scored a hat-trick and I was like, wow, that just didn't pay off in any way, shape or form. So you do have to take those things into consideration, and that's something that you just need to monitor. He also happened to have Diogo Jota still in his team, who got the only goal for Liverpool. So that was good. And he had a pretty good defence, like Michael Keane, very budget option, getting him a clean sheet at the back there. And look, he was quite lucky. He had 0 points on his bench. He had Jebison, Barco still, and Zinchenko, who haven't been playing for their teams at all. And, well, Ward's his goalkeeper, so that doesn't really matter anyway. But so, look, well done to Jono. Fantastic stuff, mate. But yeah, look, that's pretty much all I want to talk about there in terms of that. When we look at my team, I did slide and rank this week. It's not a horrible slide, but it's not exactly the best. So I went from, I think, game high week last week where I was up to the top 61,905 teams. I have slid down with a red arrow to 87,794. So, it does happen. You are going to have weeks where you get a red arrow, not to be too disheartened. Just means you got to get back up and get back on with it. And I suppose that leads us into the next thing. So look, we're going to quickly swap over here to, I'm going to screen share, and we're going to go through the games this week and what really caught my eye. So quite a few players did catch my eye this week, and ones that, made me think. And that's where it is, like trying to get ahead of the curve, trying to spot the difference. So look, that's my game week score there. As you can see there, I'm just going to quickly make that a little bit bigger so people can actually see what that is on the screen. There we go. So as you can see there, I'm up to 485 points for the season now. And yeah, 87,794. So look, my team value is pretty good, and I do have one transfer this game week, and I've got 1.5 million in the bank. Now, my plan was to bring that player in called Dominic Solanke from Spurs. Now, I still might, but I might do a different trade now. Chris Wood's actually made me sit up and pay attention, really. So he's scored a lot more points than I thought he was going to do. And as I said before, with those fixtures coming up, I actually think I want to keep him now until I probably wildcard in game week 12. That's my plan. I mean, he's got a pretty tough run from there. Arsenal away, Ipswich home, and Man City away, Man United away, and then Aston Villa at home. That's not a good run of fixtures for Chris Wood. Even though he's scored in games that I have not expected him to score this season, I just can't see him doing it against those particular teams. He might do it against Man United, because who knows what you're going to get from them from week to week. And you might get it against Ipswich at home as well. I just don't like the other fixtures. I think he's got, well, having said that, Arsenal have been given away the odd goal game, and so have Man City. So, he might not actually be the worst hold. But The other player that now I am thinking about changing instead is Ollie Watkins. Now, I was quite disappointed in his game. That Man United team were there to be had. And look, Ollie Watkins' run after the next 2 game weeks is a little bit tricky. So they've got Spurs away, Liverpool away, Crystal Palace at home, and then Chelsea away. And that's up to like game week 14. So he could be on the chopping block for me. It might be Watkins to Solanke. And if I do that, I'm just going to quickly show what would happen if I did do that. So I'm going to type in Solanke's name. Where is he? Solanke. All right. So if I bring Solanke in for Watkins, that leaves me with 2.9 million in the bank, which is pretty good. And then I look in the midfield and I'm like, who can I upgrade here? Because I have got quite a budget team in midfield, and that is kind of concerning. Like, quite concerning. So I don't want to have to be relying on 2 budget players every week, which is what I feel like I've been doing for the whole season. And I have been riding my luck and getting pretty good results from the ones that I have been picking. I'm just concerned that luck is going to run out. So look, Smith Rowe's fixtures aren't the best. So they've got Villa at home, Everton away, Brentford at home. In fact, they're actually not too bad. I lie. He might be the one that survives. But then I'm looking at getting rid of McNeil or Rodgers. And I definitely don't want to get rid of McNeil. I've just bought him in, and his fixture run, as I've said, Everton's, he's definitely not going. So that's just green. He is going to get me points. I just need to stop stressing about that. Morgan Rodgers is the one. Now, he's so budget, and he's up to 5.3. He probably will rise to 5.4, which means that I would then be able to sell him. Oh, no, I couldn't. I need him to get to 5.5 to get 5.3. So at the moment, I could spend the extra 2.9 on Morgan Rodgers, which would give me 8.1 million to spend on a midfielder. Or I could spend it on Smith Rowe, and that would give me 8.5. So when I look at the midfielders, and let's have a look at the midfielders that I could potentially target that might be able to upgrade my team. So 8.5, like Luis Diaz is in there, but as I said on the live show the other night, I was concerned that Luis Diaz was soon to be starting on the bench, and I was actually proven correct. And look, he started on the bench. That was disappointing, particularly for all those people that own him, and I dare say he's going to be high on the transfer out list this game week. Now, a lot of people probably going to look at bringing in Kovacic because he scored 2 goals for Man City owners. And I said this last week, you can't be reactionary in fantasy. He's not going to score those many points again, like any time. So he will never have another game like that. I think he's scored only a handful of times for Man City, but there is no way he's going to get 15 points again. No way in the world. I mean, like, look at his other numbers for the season are a lot more accurate. They actually scored in the Chelsea game as well. So, look, he's all right. He's got 11, 1, 2, 0, 6, 1, 15. I think he's more likely to be around the 2-1 mark because obviously he does give away the yellow card. He's playing in that role. And, I just don't think the same goal threat actually exists there. So that's something to keep in mind, particularly when you are looking and being reactionary. Don't do it. As I said last week, I really wanted to bring McNeil in before he scored those points last week, and I really took the -4 to bring him in, thinking that he would get me more points again this week. It didn't happen, but I'm still happy with that transfer. I'm just saying you can't afford to just always chase those points because they don't always work. Now, one player that really did catch my eye this game week, Jared Bowen. Now, Jared Bowen's one of them players. If we look at his history this season, 2 points, 8, 5, 5, 2, 2, 12. He always normally gets like the odd goal or the odd assist in a game. It's rare that he blanks. I mean, he's blanked 3 times out of 7, so that's not overly fabulous. But he's up to 36 points now. He's dropped in price from his starting price of 7.5 down to 7.4. He's only owned by 5.5% of the comp. And look, his lot of runner fixtures isn't, it's not fabulous, but I've seen worse. So he's got Spurs away next, but we see what Spurs can do. They do give up goals. And Jared Bowen's that kind of player that on the breakaway will score potentially against Spurs. Then they've got Man United at home, which I reckon should start becoming a green team pretty soon. I shouldn't be so mean to my own team. Nottingham Forest away, Everton at home, then it's Newcastle away, Arsenal at home, and then he's got a very good run of fixtures from there. And as I said, he's someone that I would actively, if I don't bring him in now, he's probably coming in on the wild card. And that's the other thing. Like, so if I did make the trade here and say, I don't like the look of Rodgers more, and I'm like, oh, for the foreseeable future, actually, I don't know about that because he's so budget enabling, and I'm only probably ever going to play 4 midfielders. So like in reality, probably shouldn't worry about him so much. But yeah, look, that's just how it is. So I'd probably get rid of Smith Rowe at this point, and then I'd look at bringing Bowen in. That still leaves you a 1.1 in the bank. And then I can probably look at trying to upgrade one of these defenders to a better defender. So in this case, Pedro Porro is actually on the cutting block for me. I'm sick of the fact that Spurs can't keep clean sheets. And he just hasn't been getting the attacking returns that we've becoming expected or we have come to expect of him. So look, he's another one that's in the firing line. The other options that I have been liking as well, and we are going to go into the results for this game week. Hold on. If you do want to join our league, by the way, the code is LDV6FK. So the code is LDV6FK. So that's the thing there. I'm going to quickly go back to my points for the week. And we're going to have a quick look here. Down here, we're going to look at the results. So Crystal Palace 1-0 loss to Liverpool. Gapco got the assist. Diogo Jota got the goal. And obviously the bonus points... Alisson Becker, who did his hamstring, which is very unfortunate, got 3 bonus points. Alexander-Arnold 2 and Virgil van Dijk 2. It's a shame because Alisson Becker is another option. He's actually going to drop in price now as a goalie, so keep an eye on him when they come back because Liverpool do have that tough little run now coming up, and he could be an option when he is back fit. But Kelleher could be a real good transfer target if you want a cheap budget goalkeeper. It's going to play for probably the next month, maybe, potentially on how bad that hamstring injury is. That Arsenal game, as I said, disappointing that Southampton conceded in that game. But Havertz, Martinelli and Saka all got goals. So did Archer for anyone that had a real budget option for Southampton. And obviously Saka got 2 assists. So that's where his massive 16 points came from. And he obviously got the 3 bonus and Havertz got 2. So yeah, look, the Arsenal attackers getting the job done. The defenders, not so much the last couple of game weeks. So that's something to keep in mind moving forward. Now, the real entertainment game. 8 goals in this game between Brentford and Wolves. Now, have a look who scored in here. Collins, who was a very popular option for Brentford. He scored. Mbuemo scored. Norgard scored. Pinnock scored. Carvalho, who's also a real budget option in midfield. He also scored. And then... my mate, Alt Nouri, who got destroyed by Chelsea, got a goal and an assist. So he was quite popular at the start of last season. And if we pull up his stats, he's dropped in price from 4.5 to 4.4. Now, I dare say he's going to go up. Here's an option that I'm considering potentially making my one transfer on this game week. Well, not this week. I meant the week after because they've got Man City this week. So God knows what's going to happen there. But look, his fixture run after that, the Wolves fixture run really does open up from game week 9 onwards. And he is definitely someone that will be in my team by game week 10. When Crystal Palace come to play them at home, he's in. Game week 10, Alt Nouri in. You just want to try and hope that you beat the price rise. Now, a lot of people will see the scores that he scored this week, and I wouldn't disagree with bringing him in trying to beat that price rise, but it's something to keep in mind, in the back of your mind. Now, another bloke that I went on about last week, Matthias Cunha, he scored. It's two out of 3 game weeks now he's delivered. So, as again, next game week against Man City, probably not the week to bring him in, but from Brighton away onwards, game week 9, he is definitely an option. And look, he's also someone that maybe Chris Wood might turn into or Ollie Watkins might turn into. It just depends. And it's trying to read that and trying to get ahead of the curve and trying to maximize the points from your transfers. Definitely someone to keep an eye on. Definitely someone to keep an eye on. So, look, that game was just full of goals. Flecken got 3 saves as well. So that kind of helped his points a little bit, but not really because he conceded 3 goals. So not really good. Leicester Bournemouth. Now, I was surprised Bournemouth did not do much in this game. I mean, the Leicester goalkeeper only made 2 saves. And so that's very disappointing for Bournemouth. But look, I actually thought this was Bournemouth's last good game, but because obviously they've got a couple of hard game weeks to come. But alas, they didn't go well. So James Justin, though, how good's he playing? He's another player that, you could look to bring in. His next, his fixtures, I didn't actually realise Leicester had such a good fixture run. So Southampton away, Nottingham Forest at home, Ipswich away. These are all great fixtures. And he's got 12 points against Arsenal and 10 against Bournemouth. He's looking good. 4.5 million. I don't think he can go too far wrong with that, to be fair. What a great little... He's definitely on the list. Sorry, the Everton defence might be back, but I think he's the pick this game week. If you're wanting a budget option, James Justin could be a man. Now, if we go to the Man City Fulham game, what a weird game this was. So Andreas and Muniz, anyone that held on to Muniz, well done to you. Like, you finally got some sort of reward. He finally got a goal. Finally got a goal in this game. He did get it off the bench. Yeah, minutes played 13. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he got it off the bench. But he's down to 5.8 now. But, that could be the what he needed to kickstart his season. Once one goal goes in, quite often many more goals follow. So look, he could be an option moving forward. In regards to the other players that caught my eye in this game, Rico Lewis got an assist, so well done to people that had him. But again, Fulham scored twice, so you're not getting the defensive returns there. And Guaviol again didn't do much and conceded twice, so he only got 1 point after his great run the week before. West Ham Ipswich, you got to start getting concerned for these promoted teams. But Delap, another goal, looking good. He's scored a few points in the last few weeks, so he's up to 31 points now for the season. He backs up his 12 points last game week with 6 this week. So, yeah, well done to him. That's good. Jared Bowen, as I said, fantastic stuff. And Kudos finally did something as well. So, there might be some price rises there, particularly when that West Ham fixture run does turn around. Mate, that Ipswich keeper made 8 saves. That's insane. And he still let in 4. Wow, that's not good defending. And then we move on to Sunday, which was a boring Sunday. Really? So the late kickoff on the Saturday was actually Everton Newcastle. No goals in this game, but Anthony Gordon missed a penalty and Jordan Pickford saved it. So Jordan Pickford, I want to talk about him. He's a player I think maybe potentially you can bring in. Now, as I've said before, that Everton fixture run when I looked at Dwight McNeil is insanely good. And now that Jared Braithwaite is back in that Everton team, their defence has significantly improved. So, don't be surprised if you see Everton starting to keep clean sheets. That's all I'll say to that. He only made 3 saves against Newcastle here. So, yeah, look, that's something to keep in mind as well. I mean, Pope only made 2, so it was a pretty boring game if there's only 5 shots being saved. Now, in an even more boring game, Aston Villa against Man United. Now, Anana made 1 save, Martinez made 4, which is why he got the full bonus points. I don't even remember him really making a really good save, to be honest. It was a game of nothing. The biggest disappointment of the week was the Villa players. I'd said target the Manchester United fixture because particularly after that midweek in Europe, you thought that they were a shoo-in to just take them on and, go and score some goals. But I think Villa were too much on a high after beating Bayern Munich at home. And I think it kind of showed in this game. So, look, a game devoid of any quality there. Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, Wood and Madueke, after I told Darren to sell him, scored. It's always the way. Whenever you trade a player, quite often they dump points on you the next game week. Thankfully, that hasn't happened to me yet. But, look, it can happen. And, who's to know that Madueke was going to score in this game? And who knew that Chris Wood was going to score? Milinkovic with the assist there as well for Forest. And Palmer obviously got the assist there for his owners, including me. And then the last game of the round, another weird game. So Brendan Johnson kept up his scoring run, scored again for Spurs. James Maddison scored. Solanke got an assist, so did Werner. And then it was all about the goals for Brighton. So Danny Welbeck continues to be great value. He's now up to 41 points for the season. And look, he's probably going to rise close to 6 mil pretty soon. I mean, their fixture run's not fabulous the next 4 game weeks though. So Newcastle away, Wolves home, Liverpool away, Man City home. You're not going to be expecting too many points from Brighton players over the next 4 game weeks. So maybe he might not rise in price, but he was definitely impressive again here. And so was Minte. He finally got some points for his owners. So that was about time he did something because I think it was his first goal. Yeah, because the other 2 games he did assist in game weeks 1 and 3. Yeah, so look, I wouldn't be going anywhere near Brighton players for the next few weeks, but the Spurs players, Dominic Solanke did get that assist, but, you know, they were quite disappointing, to be honest, considering they were 2-0 up and then they threw it away. So, look, the Tottenham run is pretty good. They just don't keep clean sheets, and that's the problem I've got with them. I mean, like last one seems to be a bit of an aberration at this point. So, look, that's my thoughts for this game week. Early thoughts, me and Alan will be back later on in the week. The last thing I'm going to touch on really quickly, we're just going to have a look at the leagues for this week. So the thing you can beat me. So I've just given out the league code before. Blake's now up in a second, so well done to Blake. He had 49 points for the week. He's up to 444, so I've got a lead of 41. So he crawled back of 3 points on me this game week. Bob didn't move at all. He's still in third. Changed name, Ollie Sunich played his bench boost this week, and he was quite lucky that, he got 2 points in his bench boost. So, look, there was a few people that played their bench boost this week, and it made no sense. Like, why would you be playing your bench boost when you've still got Barker on your team, Ollie? Either trade him out and then play it, or just don't play it, because that's just dumb. Another person that played it this week as well was the bloke that's last, 26, speed races. How you going, mate? He played his bench boost. Thankfully, he's stopped making transfers every week that make him minus 12 points. But again, your bench boost when none of them are playing makes no sense to play it. Like, why would you play it when you've got Ben White, Anana, Richards, and Bentley on your bench, and none of them played? So it just makes no sense. Maybe he thought that they were magically going to play if he pressed it. He's obviously new to the game, so unlucky, but you still got to take the mickey out of him because that's just quite funny and quite entertaining, to be honest with you. Yeah, look, that's what that was. And then obviously we go into the head-to-head leagues. This week I did beat the Slappy Dog, Pete McNeil, by 11 points. There were some other big games in here. So Darren beat Diesel on his wild card. Ironically, I actually beat Darren's wild card squad, taking a -4. So just a shout out to Darren as well. Sometimes when you play the wild card, it's just disappointing. So as you can see there, he didn't leave any points on the bench, but I did tell him, don't bring in Foden, and he didn't listen. But alas, there's only so much you can tell someone before they did. Yeah. Let's just say the player I told him to bring it in scored a lot more points than Foden did. And then this week, we're looking ahead quickly to game week 8. I have got my cousin, Brev United, Bailey. I'm coming for you this week, baby. Yeah, so look, that's something. And if we could quickly go to the standings there, it's me and Darren at the top, clear, one game clear of Bob. So yeah, look, that's that. And then the last one. The international series is finally over. The Asia Pacific team, as I said, sometimes it just doesn't make sense picking all the good players. So my game week rank this week was 210,604. I got 23 points. The highest got 78. So that's how bad that was. I should have put in Chris Wood. He scored a goal. So he would have got 16 points because players from the Asia Pacific, yeah, and obviously Matoma as well did something. So, the Brighton players probably, should have brought in. But look, it's one of them things. The next one is interesting. So the next challenge is ball winners. So interceptions and tackles are worth 1 point. 3 ball recoveries are worth 1 point. So you just want people that are going to make a lot of tackles and interceptions. So you probably want a team full of defenders, really, because, some of them make a lot of tackles. So that's something to keep in mind. I haven't looked at my team for what I'm going to do with that yet. I have to do a little bit of research. And the international break means you have to actually actively think about what you're going to do with your team and look out for injuries. Like the people that haven't played their wild card, this is also a really good time. If there are lots of injuries or people come back, you can change things. Obviously, Allison getting injured as a goalkeeper means there's potentially an option there to bring in Keller as a reserve goalkeeper. That's also something I might actually actively think about doing. But again, the Liverpool run's not the best coming up, so that's something to keep in mind as well. But yeah, look, hopefully your game week wasn't a disaster. I mean, mine was, as I said, it started off and it ended bang averagely. 46 points with my -4 was the exact average of the game week. So, when you get an average, you can't be too downhearted because you could get below the average like a lot of teams have. And that means you've got a massive red arrow. But look, it's not the best. But look, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And you just got to play the game for its merits. So look, me and Alan will be back later in the week where we have a proper in-depth look. But look, I just wanted to quickly review the weekend and, share what I thought. So let me know. That Everton team, the Everton defence, are they on? Wolves players, are they a must-have coming up with that fixture run? Let us know in the comments. And if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. That's been the D Unit. Thanks for watching. Goodbye till later in the week.